What's the good word? It's your boy DKB here. So, kind of reflecting on the Jets roster, right? We are 2 days into the tampering period. This is day 3. We haven't made many moves at all on day 2, just the defensive tackle signing. Lecky Fotu, if I'm remembering correctly, from the Cardinals. But as it pertains to our roster, the looming threat, the sore thumb elephant in the room, without a doubt to me, Zach Wilson. He's still on the roster. He's kind of been incognito, right? This is a bit of the perfect storm for the Jets, but things aren't going the way we would have expected, right? You take a look at the free agent market at the quarterback position. Many teams took the advantage and opportunity to go out there and find themselves, at worst, a stopgap option. You take a look at the Falcons. They get themselves QB1 and Kirk Cousins. The Patriots go out there and grab themselves a Jacoby Brissett. You see the Vikings go out there and get themselves a Sam Darnold, for example. The main player, though, that I'm looking here in the team is Chicago Bears, right? And obviously that's because they have Justin Fields. You take a look at their situation as the offseason has continued to progress. It's looked more and more likely like Caleb Williams is going to be the answer, right? You reset the financial quarterback clock. At worst, I've heard many fans and analysts think that Caleb Williams right now and Justin Fields right now are kind of on par with each other, right? Caleb Williams obviously having the higher ceiling. He'll have the easier road to becoming an elite quarterback with the Bears after, having his rookie contract get completed in the league. Justin Fields has nowhere to go. There's not a single place or team you look at in the NFL right now where you say he has a clear-cut starting job. There's no competition. This is the guy. We're going to try to build around him and see if we can make this work. That situation's not available for him. You take a look at Mac Jones, recently traded 6th-round pick to the Jags. And so the interesting piece with Justin Fields' market is that in the beginning of the offseason, it looked like he could go for a 2nd-round pick and then maybe something like a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. But basically some combination of 2 to 3 picks, one of those definitely being somewhere in the 2nd round, maybe a low round 1 if things got, a team got desperate. But that's not the case anymore. Things have continued to turn into a downward spiral, not just for Justin Fields, but in turn for the Jets, right? You take a look at our situation again. We've had the owner shooting shots at him. We've had us as a fan base. Terrible treatment, not just to him himself, excuse me, but also to his family. You think about the multiple confrontations with his mother. It's just been a completely bad look, right? Obviously, the whole misdevelopmental track that he's been on, the terrible coaching staffs, the disconnect in what his skill set is, what he wants to accomplish, building him up, versus what we've seen as an on-field product, right? It's interesting because I've heard Sauce Gardner's comments recently about the standard not just being the standard for defense, but for the team as at large. That doesn't seem to be the case for offense, right? Special teams definitely has a certain, aesthetic to them. The defense obviously has high standards for themselves. The offense, we just seem like we're just looking to get by, right? Hence Robert Saleh's comments on a multitude of occasions talking about just trying to race to 20 points to get a win, etc., etc. Zach Wilson, though, it's looking more and more likely like we'll have to cut him, right? You take a look at what we've talked about previously for what it would take to probably influence a trade. A conditional pick for the New York Jets, meaning we may not even secure draft capital for getting rid of him, and then partial or full payment of his contract, right? Not only is a team that's trading for him taking on part of his 4th-year salary, they have to make a decision on the 5th-year option for him, which I think you have to consider, right, just because the quarterback contracts are getting crazier and crazier. But ideally, you're going to decline that. And then what would it take to get an extension done if you want a longer look at him, right? It's just a whole ordeal for the team that's bringing him on board, especially for a guy you wouldn't expect to necessarily win any competitions. And so what does this mean for the Jets? Cap-wise, if we cut/release him, $11.2 million in dead cap. If we traded him, at least we were going to save $5.4 million, only take a dead cap hit of 5.73. But it's looking increasingly like we need to take a page out of the Denver Broncos playbook, and we might just have to seriously consider eating this contract. I don't really see any other way around it. There's no magic ball right now that's going to come up with a creative solution to get Zach Wilson out of New York. Even on the New York Stock Exchange, podcast that I check out with Connor Rogers and Trevor Sikkema, they were cracking jokes about it yesterday. At this point, Zach Wilson may go. We might have to pay a team to get him out of New York. We might have to accept, discount Groupon, codes and stuff. All jokes aside, realistically, we're in a pretty bad situation. And again, there's no world that I can see us keeping Zach Wilson on this roster. Imagine the ridiculous media storm that's going to go on, whether we draft a quarterback or not. But let's say, for example, I'll put a name out there. We draft Devin Leary in the 6th round this year. He comes to New York. He's behind Aaron Rodgers. He's behind Tyrod Taylor. He beats out Zach Wilson in the competition, our former number 2 overall selection. That's going to be a wrap, right? And that's the end to Zach Wilson's career at that point in time. You can't beat out a day 3 pick for a team that you've been with for an extended number of years, regardless of the coaching staff situation. That would say it all. That'll put a stamp on what has been another terrible use and wasted years of trying to develop somebody when we have no idea what we're doing on this side. So nonetheless, I say all that to say, buckle up, guys. This may be it's trending towards a rough offseason heading into the draft, right? Ideally, you want him gone before that draft hits. But regardless, before or after, there's going to be a firestorm that creeps up at some point. So let me know what you guys would do. Are you cutting bait right away? Before the draft comes, or are you holding on to all hopes that you can get this guy traded out the building somehow? I'll catch you guys again. Peace.